Let me ask you something. What if the only thing standing between you and the life you dream about is not money, not connections, not luck, but something invisible, something sitting right inside your own skull? What if I told you that over 500 of the world's most successful people, millionaires, industrialists, inventors, all shared one secret, and that secret was hidden in plain sight for over 80 years? Most people scroll past it. Most people dismiss it. But the ones who truly understood it, they changed their lives completely. Today, we are going to unpack that secret, idea by idea, story by story, in a way nobody has ever explained it to you before. Stay till the end, because the last 3 minutes of this video might be the most important 3 minutes of your entire year. Let's go. There's a book. It was written after the author spent over 20 years studying the most successful humans on Earth. He sat with them, interviewed them, observed their habits, their thinking, their daily rituals. And what he discovered shocked him. Because here's what he found. None of these people succeeded because of intelligence alone. None of them succeeded purely because of education. In fact, many of them never even finished school. What separated them from everyone else was something much more powerful, something almost spiritual, a way of thinking that most ordinary people never develop. Now, who is this book for? It's for you if you feel stuck, if you feel like you're working hard but going nowhere, if you feel like success is happening to everyone else around you but somehow keeps missing you. Here is the biggest mistake people make when it comes to success. They think success is about doing more hustle, more hours, more grinding. But what this timeless teaching shows us is that success starts long before any action is taken. It starts in the mind.
Or today, we are going to rebuild how you think from the ground up. The first idea we are about to discuss is the one most people get completely wrong, and it's costing them years of their life. Let me tell you about a young man. He was born poor. His family had almost nothing. As a child, he watched his father work 14-hour days just to keep the lights on. People in his town had already decided his future for him. They said, boys like him don't go far. But this boy had something burning inside him. Not talent, not money, not connections. He had a desire so intense, so specific, so real, that he could feel it in his bones every single morning when he woke up. And here's what separated him from the other boys in his town who had the same difficult background. He didn't just wish for a better life. He didn't just hope for it. He decided, with absolute certainty, exactly what he wanted, exactly how much of it he wanted, exactly when he wanted it, and exactly what he was willing to sacrifice to get it. That is the difference between a wish and a burning desire. Wishes are passive. Desires are alive. Desires push you out of bed at 5 a.m. when motivation is gone. Desires keep you going when logic says quit. Now here's the mistake most people make. They say things like, I want to be rich or I want to be successful, but they never define it. They never write it down. They never attach a specific number, a specific date, a specific plan. Vague goals create vague results. Think about it this way. Imagine you tell a taxi driver, take me somewhere nice. Where does he go? He has no idea. He might drive you around for an hour and still not reach anywhere meaningful. But if you say, take me to 42nd Street, Manhattan by 3 p.m., suddenly the driver knows exactly what to do. Your brain works the same way. When you give it a clear, burning, definite target, it starts working on that target automatically, even when you're sleeping. Right now, after this video, take a piece of paper. Write down one specific goal. Not, I want more money. Write the exact amount. Write the date. Write 3 things you are willing to give up to achieve it. Put that paper somewhere you see it every single morning. That is not just motivation. That is programming your mind for success. What you just heard is just the foundation. What's coming next is where things get really interesting and a little uncomfortable. You see, here's the thing nobody talks about. Desire without faith is just daydreaming. And that brings us to the second core idea. This next idea has been misunderstood for decades. Most people think it's about positive thinking. It's not. It's about something far deeper. I want you to imagine two people. Same city, same background, same opportunities. Person A looks at a successful person and thinks, lucky them, I could never do that. I didn't go to the right school, I don't have the right contacts. The system is against people like me. Person B looks at the same successful person and thinks, if they figured it out, there's a path. I just haven't found my path yet, but I will. Same world, completely different internal reality. Here's what modern neuroscience actually confirms, and what this timeless wisdom already knew decades ago. Your brain has a mechanism. Scientists call it the reticular activating system, or RAS, and its job is to filter reality for you. Out of the millions of pieces of information your brain receives every second, it only shows you what it believes is relevant to you. When you deeply believe you're meant for success, your RAS starts showing you opportunities that were always there but that you were previously blind to. When you believe you're destined to struggle, your brain literally filters out the opportunities and shows you only the obstacles. This is not mysticism, this is biology. Now here's a real-life analogy. Have you ever bought a new car, let's say a white Honda City, and suddenly you start seeing white Honda Cities everywhere, on every road, in every parking lot? Did those cars suddenly appear? No, they were always there, but now your brain considers them relevant, so it shows them to you. The same thing happens with opportunities. But here's where people go wrong. They think belief means just saying positive affirmations in the mirror every morning. They say, I am rich, I am successful, and then wait for money to fall from the sky. That's not faith, that's wishful thinking with extra steps. True belief, the kind that actually changes your life, has to be felt in your body, not just repeated by your lips. Here's how you build that kind of belief. First, surround yourself with evidence. Read about people who started with nothing and built something. Not to compare yourself, but to train your brain to see that the path exists. Second, act as if before you feel it. Do one small thing every single day that the successful version of you would do. Not a big thing, a tiny thing. Dress better, speak more confidently, sit up straighter. These small acts send signals to your brain that you are that person already. Third, cut the people who shrink you. This is the uncomfortable part. There are people in your life, maybe family, maybe old friends, who every time you share a dream say, be realistic. Those people are not evil, but their fear is contagious. Guard your mind like your most valuable possession, because it is. We've talked about desire, we've talked about belief, but there's a third idea that is probably the most misused concept in all of self-help, and most people are doing it completely backwards. What I'm about to share sounds strange at first, but by the end you'll realize it's one of the most practical tools successful people actually use, and they just don't talk about it publicly. Here's a psychological insight that will genuinely change how you make decisions. The people who achieve extraordinary things in life don't do it alone. They never do. But here's the interesting part. They don't always do it with physical mentors either. Successful people throughout history have developed a practice of mentally consulting the greatest minds they admire, people they may have never met, people who may have even lived centuries ago. This might sound like imagination, but it's actually a very sophisticated mental tool. Here's why it works. When you are about to make a decision about money, relationships, about your career, your thinking is limited by your own experience. You can only see as far as your own perspective allows. But when you ask yourself, how would the most disciplined person I know approach this problem, or what would someone who has already solved this challenge do, you borrow mental frameworks that are bigger than your current programming. You start thinking at a different level. Here's a story to make this concrete. There was a young entrepreneur, deep in debt, business failing, self-confidence shattered. One evening he sat down and asked himself, if I could have any advisor in the world sitting across from me right now, who would it be? He made a list. A scientist known for perseverance, a general known for strategic thinking, a philosopher known for calm under pressure. And then he asked himself, what would each of them say about his current situation? The scientist would say, you haven't failed. You've just found ways that don't work. Keep experimenting. The general would say, stop fighting on every front simultaneously. Pick one battle and win it completely. The philosopher would say, the situation is what it is. Your suffering comes from resisting reality. Accept it, then change it. That simple mental exercise shifted his entire approach. Within 2 years, his business was profitable. Now here's the uncomfortable truth this idea reveals. Most people's greatest enemy is not competition, not bad luck, not the economy. It's the small, scared, limited voice inside their own head, the one that sounds like their most pessimistic relative, that narrates their life for them. The practice of mentally consulting great minds is really just a way of replacing that limiting voice with something bigger and wiser. The psychological insight here is this. Your mind cannot tell the difference between a memory that is real and one that is vividly imagined. This is why trauma affects us even after the event is gone. But it also means, if you repeatedly imagine yourself thinking like someone extraordinary, your brain begins to build new neural pathways that actually support that kind of thinking. You literally rewire yourself through the quality of the mental voices you choose to listen to. So the question is, whose voice is running on repeat inside your head right now? The next idea is the one that separates people who read books like this from people who actually live the results. Most summaries skip it entirely. We are going to go deep on it.
Here's a lesson that sounds simple, but most people completely misapply it, and it ends up keeping them poor instead of making them wealthy. Let me ask you a question. Who is more valuable in today's world? Someone who knows a little bit about everything, or someone who knows everything about one specific thing. Most of us grew up being told to be well-rounded, study every subject, know a bit of history, a bit of science, a bit of art. And that's fine for school. But in the real world, in the marketplace, what pays is specialized knowledge combined with the ability to apply it. Here's where people go wrong. They think knowledge itself is power, so they read book after book, take course after course, collect certificates and degrees, but they never reach a point where they feel ready to act. I call this the preparation trap. The preparation trap is when learning becomes a substitute for doing. It feels productive, it feels safe, but it's really just a sophisticated form of fear. The real teaching here is this: you don't need to know everything. You need to know enough to take the next step, and then the step after that. You learn the rest along the way. But here's the second part of this idea that is even more powerful. You don't have to have all the knowledge yourself. This is the concept of the Mastermind Alliance, and it is probably the single most underrated success principle ever documented. Here's the idea in simple terms. When two or more people come together with a shared goal, a spirit of harmony, and a genuine commitment to each other's success, something emerges from that group that is greater than the sum of its parts. It's not just networking, not just collaboration. It's the creation of a third mind, an invisible intelligence that forms when two or more aligned minds work together. Think about it practically. You want to start a business. You lack marketing knowledge, but you have a brilliant product idea. Your friend has marketing skills, but no product sense. Another friend has financial knowledge. Separately, each of you is incomplete. Together, you are unstoppable. The mistake people make is trying to be the smartest person in every room. They hold back from partnerships because of ego, fear of being overshadowed, or unwillingness to share credit. But the truly wealthy people in this world understand a fundamental truth. A share of a large pie is worth far more than all of a tiny pie. How to correctly apply this? Step 1. Identify the 2 to 3 skills you most critically lack right now. Step 2. Find people in your existing network who possess those skills. Step 3. Don't approach them with, "I need your help." Approach them with, "Here's how we both win." Always lead with value. Always make it mutual. That is a mastermind alliance. And when you combine specialized knowledge with a genuine alliance of complementary minds, you become almost impossible to stop. All right, now let's make all of this real. Here is your 7-day execution plan. Not motivation, execution. Day 1, Clarity Day. Spend 20 minutes writing down your one main goal in extreme detail. Not, "I want to be rich." Write, "I will earn X amount by this specific date by doing this specific thing." Write it by hand, pin it where you see it every morning. Day 2, Belief Audit. Write down 3 beliefs you have about yourself that may be limiting you. For each one, write, "This belief is not a fact. It is a story I inherited." Then write the opposite belief and 1 piece of evidence that supports it. Day 3, your mastermind list. Write down 3 people in your life or people you could reach out to who complement your weaknesses. Write 1 genuine thing you can offer each of them. Send 1 message today, not asking for anything, just reconnecting. Day 4, Knowledge Audit. Identify the 1 skill that if you mastered it would most accelerate your goal. Dedicate 30 minutes today to learning only that skill. No scatter learning. Day 5, the Mental Boardroom. Before bed, spend 10 minutes asking, what would the most disciplined, strategic, courageous version of me do tomorrow? Write 3 answers. Those are your priorities for the next day. Day 6, eliminate 1 distraction. Identify the single biggest time or energy drain in your daily life. Make a concrete plan to reduce it by 50% this week. Not eliminate, just reduce. Small wins build momentum. Day 7, the Commitment Letter. Write a letter to yourself from your future self 1 year from now. Describe what your life looks like. What did you build? Who did you become? What did you stop accepting? Read this letter every Sunday morning. That is your 7-day plan. Not overwhelming, not complicated, execution-focused, and real. I want to leave you with one final thought, and I need you to actually sit with this for a moment. Most of us are walking around with a budget mindset in a world of infinite possibility. We were taught, by school, by society, sometimes even by the people who love us most, to be realistic, to not dream too big, to be grateful for what we have and not ask for more. And there is wisdom in gratitude, absolutely.
But there is a difference between gratitude and resignation. Gratitude says, I appreciate what I have and I am building towards something greater. Resignation says, this is just how things are for people like me. The ideas in this timeless book are not about money, not really. Money is just a measuring stick. What they're really about is this. You are the sum of the thoughts you consistently think, the company you consistently keep, and the actions you consistently take. Change those three things and your entire life changes. The world is not short of opportunity. It is short of people who are clear enough, disciplined enough, and brave enough to go after what they truly want. You now have the blueprint. The question is, can you do it? The question is, are you finally ready to stop waiting for the right moment and realize that this moment, right now, is the only one that matters? Take one step today, just one. The journey of 1,000 miles doesn't begin with a plan. It begins with a single step. You've got this. If this video gave you even one idea that could change your life, then do me one small favor. Hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second and it helps this message reach someone else who needs it. Subscribe to this channel because every week we break down the most powerful ideas in the world of success, money, and mindset in simple, real language that you can actually use. And drop a comment below answering this one question. What was your biggest takeaway from this video? I read every single comment, and your answer might be the one thing that helps someone else in this community finally click. Thank you for watching the whole way through. That tells me you are serious about your growth, and serious people get serious results. I'll see you in the next one.